Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. I hope you had a wonderful day today. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Sai Satcharita, the life and teachings of Shirdi, Sai Baba. Today we will be beginning with a new chapter, that is chapter 35, the removal of doubts and glorification of the Udi. In fact, it's a continuation of Udi itself. My obeisance to Shri Ganesh, to Shri Saraswati and Shri Guru Maharaj, to the family deity, to Shri Sita Ramachandra, my most humble obeisance, I bow in reverence to the most venerable Guru, Shri Sai Nath. I shall now continue in the present chapter the narration of the very same stories indicated at the end of the last chapter. Listen to them at your ease. Thinking of one's spiritual progress, there is no greater and more difficult obstacle in one's path than excessive pride in one's own religious sect which obstructs it. We are worshippers of the formless. God with shape and form is the root cause of delusion. After all, saints and sadhus are humans. Why then bow your head before them? One should not prostrate before them or offer them dakshina. One should never bow one's head before them at all, for this is mockery of devotion. Many said many things about Shirdi, some this, some that, but not all of them were trustworthy. Some said that when you go there for darshan, Sai Baba asks for dakshina. But when a sadhu begins to pursue wealth, his saintliness is tainted. Blind faith is not good. Only when I get personal experience shall I decide in my mind how I should act. Okay, this is a very, very common way of how the worldly human beings look at a great master or a divine being who has manifested in this world. They cannot understand that he's a great guru. Looking at these great gurus, people have a lot of misconceptions because they go by their worldly appearance. Why? Simply because the great masters appears very ordinary. They are not wearing ochre clothes, they don't have a glamour way of dressing, they don't have an organization or a big ashrams. They don't have. You take the case of Ramana Maharishi or Sai Baba himself. Sai Baba, yes, people got to know about Sai Baba. Throughout this chapter, you have understood how Sai Baba came to know among the people, right? Das Ganu was singing the glories of Sai Baba. Likewise, it was a word of mouth. Many people who experienced the glories and greatness of Baba, they spread that how great Sai Baba was. Now, people came again over there only because they were seeking something. Either they were sick, they wanted wealth, they wanted children, they wanted a job, whatever that might be the case. They came with a want. Not everybody comes with a want of going on the path of spiritual. And if you just a few words that we read here, this is how an ordinary human being thinks about a great master. So it is very important that you don't make that mistake. A great master's grace is very beautiful. How he imparts that knowledge to you, you don't even realize. But when you need to come to him, he will make ways and means and arrangements himself for you to come to him. That is how these great masters work. So don't use your judgment to judge a divine being. My Gurudev, my Krishna Guruji is the Lord Almighty. He's an essence of Lord Shri Krishna himself. But even when I say these words, can anybody even understand what it means? They look at his mere human body, how he has manifested. Oh, he is living like an ordinary human being, and people make n number of judgments about him. How can this person be the great divine being? He's always going to be incognito. That is his Maya. He is not going to give grace to everybody to know him. You need to understand, Lord Shri Krishna is never going to grant that grace for people to recognize him. It is very rare when you are, you show your worthiness, and only with the divine grace can you be able to experience him It is not so easy to experience Lord Shri Krishna. Likewise, these great masters. So how can a mere mortal like you even have the guts or ability to talk something like this? So don't never ever make this kind of mistakes. I feel very sad many a time when people talk whatever they want. Why? Because they forget in whose presence are they sitting or who are they talking to. They like to treat him like an ordinary being, show that humility. People expect, like Lord Shri Krishna, he's the way he's described, he's a bluish dark complexion, he has a flute in his hand, and he wears a pitambari, the dhoti, and different aspects. He has those crocodile earrings, he has kaustubh in his neck, he's adorned with a kaustubh, he has peacock with him, he has a cow with him. So Lord Shri Krishna has so many different attributes. So people have this idea about this is how God looks. So you mean to say that God appear in that form, then only you will recognize? Why would God appear in that form in today's day and age? What is today's day and age? So the God will just don an ordinary human form and manifest in front of you. But do you have the grace to see him? No, you can't recognize him. Why? Because your mind is clouded. Your mind is, making judgments about who he is, how he can be a great master. Likewise, look how people are talking. Oh, Baba asked for dakshina, and they're making judgment that Baba is pursuing wealth and his saintliness can be tainted. I'm sorry, one who owns this entire universe and one who can give you everything, what can he take from you? He's doing you a favor when he's taking something from you. Why? Because he's removing your karma, he's absolving you of your sins, and he's granting benediction so that you can walk the path of righteousness. Such is the great master. So have little sense. I feel very sorry in these days. People don't even understand this spiritual truth. I was talking to a devotee of Baba today, and she was just saying how people are so lost that they just read this as a story. They don't even understand what is mentioned here. At that time, I was giving her an understanding that all the scriptures are codices. They are coded. It's a codex. That is why we call it's a codices, alright? So this secret can only be uncovered by the great master. Only a God can explain who a God is. So how can somebody just reading this can understand the spiritual significance, hidden in this? There are deep knowledge hidden in every chapter, every word of these scriptures. This Sai Satcharita is not such a simple thing like the way you can read. Yeah, you're going to read this as a story, as a leela of Sai Baba's life stories. But there are profound and in-depth spiritual significance hidden in that. And that can only be uncovered by the Lord Almighty himself. Only a great guru can give you the real spiritual significance of this truth. So don't even try to judge that. And such is my Krishna Guruji, who has given that in-depth knowledge. And let me tell you, when he opens the Bhagavad Gita and reads at that moment in time, you will get an explanation which is perfect only for that moment in time. And the next moment, that same explanation is not there. And that is not what will come again when he opens and reads another verse from it. So this knowledge itself is very dynamic, and you will get that which you have to actually get at that moment in time. So we all have to evolve deeper and deeper every single day. And today, in fact, just this evening, my Krishna Guruji was teaching from Das Bodh. And in that, Samarth Ramdas Maharaj has so beautifully taught how evolution in the knowledge is so important. You have to evolve on the path. If you do not go inside, if you don't evolve on the path, there is no point in you being in spiritual. This is the truth. So when you seek very sincerely for understanding this profound truth about spirituality and who God is, then the Guru will find you, or he will make means for you to get that knowledge. That is how the great divine beings work. But you are still an ignorant being, you need to understand, because you might call anybody your Guru. That is not who the Guru is. The real master is the Guru, and he will make provisions for that truth, that real knowledge to reach you. How he does is none of your concern. But since you seek it with absolute faith, with its sincerity in your heart, that knowledge will open up at the right time. So let us continue. I will not give dakshina, for I cannot appreciate the saintliness of one who has in his mind a desire for wealth. He is not worthy of our respect. However, I will go to Shirdi and meet him, but will not worship his feet or offer him dakshina. Whoever set out with such a misconception, sticking consciously to his resolve, surrendered to Sai in the end. On taking his darshan, this is who the great master is. You need to budge and bow down in front of that God Almighty. Who the hell you think you are to say that you're not going to give a dakshina and you're making judgments even before meeting the Guruji? What kind of a idiot are you? Like this is how the people in this world are, who want to go and fall prey into the gutters by believing into all the fake gurus in this world. But when the real master appear, they will talk like this. But this is Kali Yugam and this is the truth. Please, I feel very sad at times when I see people, they come in presence of my Guruji, but treat him like an ordinary human being. I feel so sad. My heart goes out to them. Sometimes I just say it in my heart. I wish they understand who they are sitting, who they are eating food with, or who they are talking to. I just wish they understand. I hope people can have that little bit grace, so that they can recognize him. Many a time people just think that my Guruji will visit some people's home, and I feel very sad that they just like, oh yeah, they'll touch the feet, but that doesn't mean anything. They just give that respect because he's a Guruji. Beyond that, do they understand him? Absolutely no. They can't even recognize him. I feel terribly sad. But if you ever get an opportunity, never lose the opportunity of getting that grace, getting that knowledge from such a divine master. When he goes to somebody's house, that feet touches their home, it becomes pavitra bhumi, it becomes pure. He purifies that place. And there is a reason why he will partake of the food offered by some people. When the saints accept what you offer, they're removing your karma. They're granting your grace on you. You better be very grateful to such divine benedictions that you can have in life. Whoever set out with such a misconception, sticking consciously to his resolve, surrendered to Sai in the end on taking his darshan. Everyone, once he set his eyes on Sai, stood his ground firmly and never once turned back again. He was totally engrossed at Sai's feet. Like one who surrenders in utter penitence, he bowed at Sai's feet, forgetting his resolve altogether. Now listen carefully and respectfully, O listeners, to this chapter in which false pride in the sect is laid to rest. It brings great happiness to the listeners. Similarly, listen to Bala Nevaskar's experience as to how he treated a cobra with loving respect regarding him as Sai himself, and which also indirectly reiterates the great power of the Udi. Be gracious to me, O listeners, for I am but a slave to Sai's command and know only to obey the command respectfully. It is from this that the letters and words of this life story have taken shape. Concentrating on his feet, I have been busy filling again and again the ripples of poetry that arise from them into the picture of his life story. We are as the little ones of a tortoise, nourished and nurtured on the mother's loving glance only. We are never hungry or thirsty or exhausted, but are always satiated. When assured of the comfort and happiness of those glances alone, we need no food or water, for the glances take away all our hunger and thirst. Oh, how then can one praise them enough? Even for us, Sai, the ocean of kindness, is the sole object of vision. Here, the object of vision, one who perceives, and the act of perceiving, this Triputi, the aggregate of agent, object and action, vanishes altogether. So you understand that, people think that I am the one who's performing the action, I am the body, I am the one who's the doer, I am the object who's doing. Everything vanishes and you become one. Understanding the oneness with the divine, you realize that you're not this body, you're not this mind, you're not the one who's performing the action. The actions are perform. The gunas perform in the gunas. The gunas are performing, making you perform those actions. So you are not the one who's making those actions happen. You're programmed to do so. It is because of your nature. You need to perform the karma. We similarly see the light of Sai in both the skin and the touch, or in the nose and the smell too. There is Sai's presence, or as the words fall on the ears, again Sai's figure appears at once. So the Triphuti, that is the object of hearing, one who hears, and the process of hearing drops off instantly. So what it means simply this is, see, there is a sense, your sense organ, there is a process of hearing, and there is a sense object. Now all the three will drop off, which means your contact, when the sense organs comes in contact with the sense object, there is no reaction happening. There's no process of even hear, that particular hearing happening. You just, all that gets dropped off and you don't get affected. Why? Because your mind is filled with the divine being alone. That is what it means. Or when the tongue lingers, relishing the taste, Sai becomes one with it. So where is the great wonder of the poor Triphuti, the tongue that savors the object of taste and the act of tasting? So, I always keep telling my Krishna Guruji, when my Krishna Guruji is eating the food, you know what? He will just enact as though he's relishing the food. In fact, for him, there is no mind in between the taste and like the sense object and the sense organ. The organ is just performing an action. For him, there are no tastes. But yet, he will show how tasty the food is. And if you ever get to see my Krishna Guruji eating, he'll mix everything. Why? To destroy the taste. Because your palate should not be pandered. So he'll mix all the food and just eat it. So eating he does because you have to keep this body healthy. This is a tool, we have to take it. But he doesn't eat because it's giving him a pleasure, the sense of I want to taste this or I want to taste that. He's the highest detached being. He doesn't even perform that action. The gunas are performing in the gunas. His body is just performing that action because eating is a must. You have to take care of this tool. Even the great masters have to ensure that they take care of the body because that is used for a purpose, for teaching and doing so many things in the spiritual world. So their being healthy is extremely important, and more so they take on so many people's karmas on them. They suffer for the entire well-being of this entire creation and others, their disciples and devotees. So they need to be hale and hearty. So this is what it means when, and here it is beautifully said. So when you surrender to the divine, the God, Sai becomes, he says, let me read this as, Sai becomes one with it. So when you're eating, you're just offering that as an oblation to the divine. You're eating it because you're lost in the thought of Sai and you're savoring that food. So then it doesn't touch. It doesn't affect you because your mind is not dwelling in the taste of that because you've become one with the divine, and then the divine is eating through you. You're offering that as a sacrifice to the divine. That is what it means. And then there is no karma accruing. Then you become sinless. It becomes nishkama karma, selfless action. Everything you're just doing because it has to be done. There's no mind in it. When there is no mind in it, there is no karma happening. And it is the same with all the organs of action. If they all render homage only to Sai, then all the karma will be destroyed and freedom from the effects of karma will be obtained. This is how you can eliminate your karma. It's a very simple way of overcoming and eliminating the way karma can happen. You just have to only think about the divine and perform every action. You have to only see God in it. Even while you're cooking, eating, chant, doing your work, you're serving the Lord Almighty. Then it becomes nishkama karma. You're not bothered about success, failure, nothing. You're only focused is that you have to do it and then keep moving on. You're not waiting there to see or enjoy or dwell in that. However, the book is gaining in length and has digressed a good deal, all out of Sai's love. So let us now turn to the earlier context and pick up the threads of our story from there. A non-believer in idol worship, who was a staunch worshipper of the formless, once became very eager to go to Shirdi, purely out of inquisitiveness. So he said, we will come to Shirdi only to have the sadhu's darshan, but will not bow our head before him or give him dakshina. Who does these people think they are? Some great God Almighty, is it? They don't know the power of the great masters. You just have to bow down in front of them. Don't ever have such egoistic and a pride in your head. If these two conditions are accepted, only then shall we come to Shirdi. When his friend agreed, he set out to go with his friend with an easy mind. Kaka Mahajani, who cherished a pure love and devotion towards the saint, was his friend, but this gentleman was riddled with doubts and misconceptions. Both of them left Bombay on a Saturday night, arriving in Shirdi on Sunday morning. Both went at once to the mosque to have Sai's darshan. Now listen quietly to what happened at that time. Even as Kaka put his foot on the step to come up, seeing his friend in the distance, Baba said in a sweet tone, "Why have you come, please?" Hearing these loving words, the friend at once recognized the mark, the peculiar construction of the sentence. The manner of pronouncing the words instantly reminded him of his father. The tone in which Baba pronounced the words, "Why have you come, please?" astonished Kaka's friend greatly. That sweet tone brought to his mind his late father. The tone, the manner was just like his father's. The imitation he felt was exact and perfect. Oh, what charm the style of speech had! Kaka's friend was full of astonishment and said, "These are indeed the words of my father, so familiar is the tone." And as he heard the words as from his father's mouth, the friend's heart was touched. At once he placed his head on Baba's feet, quite oblivious of his earlier resolve. Such is the divine master's play. This is called Leela. He will bend you backwards. Your ego and pride and arrogance, you have to keep it out, chuck it outside the door and enter with humility and humbleness. Later on, Baba asked for dakshina, but that only from Kaka, who gave it happily. Both then came back and went to the mosque again in the afternoon. The friend, of course, was with him too. They were both to return to Bombay. Kaka asked permission to leave and Baba again asked him for dakshina. And that too, he only asked from Kaka again, saying, "Give me 17 rupees. Of his friend, he asked nothing. In his heart, the friend felt regret and uneasiness. Softly, he said to Kaka, "Why does he ask only you for dakshina? In the morning, he asked you for it, and even now, he asked only you. When I am with you, why does he leave me out for dakshina?" Kaka whispered in reply, asked the question to Baba himself. Suddenly, Baba asked Kaka, What is he saying to you?" The friend then himself asked Baba, "Can I give you dakshina?" Baba said, "You did not wish to give, so I did not ask you. Now, if you wish to give, then give it." When Baba asked and the devotees gave dakshina, that friend used to find fault with them. But when he himself asked whether he could give, and that too without being asked, Kaka was full of amazement. As Baba said, "Give if you wish," the friend could hardly wait and at once offered 17 rupees at his feet without being asked. Baba then said to him, "Where is the hurry to go? Wait, sit for a moment." He then gave him advice in sweet words to dispel his feeling of separateness. "Pull down that wall of the teli, the wall of separateness between you and me. The way will then be wide open for us to meet each other." This is how the great masters work. And when they give you two tight slaps, this is called giving two tight slaps, It's not physically they will beat you, but their ways of doing that is very unique. And how they'll impart that knowledge is very, very unique. They will break your arrogance into pieces. They will crush it under their feet, but in such a subtle manner that you wouldn't even know what hit you. Exactly what you will resolve is what will happen not doing, and you will break your resolve on your own. So never ever have the pride and arrogance in front of the great masters. He then gave permission to go. But seeing the overcast sky, Madhavrao said to Baba that they will be drenched in the rain on the way. Baba replied, "Let them go at ease. They have nothing to fear whatsoever from the rain on the way." So they both bowed at Sai's feet and went and sat in the tonga. Lightning flashed in the sky, the air filled with thick fog, waters of Godavari swelled. The sky resounded with thunder and they had to ferry across the river. But in Kaka's heart, there was full trust in Baba's assurance. The friend, however, was worried as to how the journey would be safe and comfortable. Considering the trouble they might face on the way, he regretted having come at all. However, they crossed the river in comfort and boarded the train. Only then did the rain begin to pour from the clouds. They reached Bombay safely. When the friend reached home and opened the doors and windows, a sparrow who was confined within swiftly flew out, while two others lay dead inside. Seeing the sight, he felt very sad that they poor creatures had lost their lives without food and water. Had the ventilators been left open before going away to Shirdi, death would not have seized them thus. The poor hapless creatures have died at my hands. He felt that Baba must have been anxious about the one that flew away, and therefore he willingly gave permission to return today. Or else even she would have died. How could she have survived without food while lifespan is over? When lifespan is over, this is what happens. At least this one sparrow was saved. There is another experience of his which is also very interesting and worth listening to. For many months, he had been suffering from pain in one heel. Before going to Shirdi, he had endured this pain for many months. But after returning from there, it ceased to cause him any discomfort and in a short while disappeared altogether. In another similar incident, trying to test the saint's power ended up only in his bowing his head at the saint's feet, much against his own wish. Listen to this story now. And also, listen to how he was tempted to and did offer dakshina not only against his will but also in violation of his firm resolve. Dharamsi Jetabai Thakkar, a solicitor from Bombay, felt a keen desire to meet Sai, purely as a result of his accumulated merit of past births. He was the employer of Kaka Mahajani and both were closely associated with each other. So he felt that he should go straight to Shirdi and meet him in person. Sorry, I just need to drink some water. Kaka was employed as the managing clerk in Thakkarji's firm and used to avail of all the holidays to go to Shirdi all the time repeatedly. And once gone, would Kaka ever return on the scheduled time? He would spend 8 days on end in Shirdi and would plead that Sai did not give him permission to return. Is this any system of working? The employer thought indignantly. And what is this way of these saints? I do not approve of all this fuss about nothing. So the Shethji, the employer, set out for Shirdi in the Shimaga, that is holy holidays, to settle this issue about Sai once and for all. Full of conceit in himself and in the greatness of his wealth, he felt that these saints are, after all, just like other human beings. Why then lower your head before them? Where the great learned Shastris and Pandits had been brought on their knees before the spiritual and moral authority of Sai, how long was poor Dharamsi's resolve going to last? But then, blind faith is not good, he thought. So let me make sure for myself. Resolving thus in his mind, he made preparations to go to Shirdi. So, like the case of the friend described above, Dharam Singh also set out for Shirdi, taking Kaka with him, and said to him, "You go to Shirdi and always stay on, but it will not do this time. You will have to return with me, know this for sure." So Kaka said, "See, this is not in my hands." Dharam Singh then took yet another companion with him. Who knows, in case Kaka just does not come back, it would not do to be without a companion on the way. So he took along a third person, and the three of them thus set out for Shirdi. There are types and types of such benevolent devotees, catching hold of whom Baba brings them to himself to clear them of their doubts and misgivings. And when they return, they relate their experience to others or get them written down by someone just to bring people to the path of righteousness. In short, those who just went were satiated with the joy of his darshan. And whatever might have been their inclination in the beginning, they experienced bliss in the end. One might well say that they went of their own accord out of curiosity and inquisitiveness, but the truth was otherwise. They really went only to fulfill Baba's purpose. See, whether it is a righteous, unrighteous, evil, good person, these saints have no differentiation. They only know that there is a reason why that person needs to be brought to them. And at the God's appointed timing, not when you and I want. So, if the time is not arrived, nobody can come to them. Even if he is a robber, a thief, or anyone, it doesn't matter. He could be a murderer. He will get the benediction if his karma is over and then his merit is there. Because of his merits that he has earned, the Divine Master will pull him back on the path of righteousness. But everybody gets an opportunity. Like my Krishna Guruji will say, the grace is on everybody. Don't keep asking that, give me your grace, give me your grace. What is this beggar like? You don't keep like begging. Empower that divine being. I am within you. The grace is always there on everybody. But you need to catch hold of that grace and do something about it. Why is that you don't put effort? If you don't have the grace, then you wouldn't even know about me. You will not even be here. You will not be studying under me. So the fact that you have that grace is why you are with me. He'll always say this. So make use of that opportunity and rise above in life. And it was Baba who gave them that inspiration. Only then could they step out of the house. Thus, by activating their natural inclinations, he led them to the path of spiritual. Who can understand Baba's plan? For if one tries to comprehend his ways, it will only end in distress. But if you surrender the ego and roll at his feet in humility, you will come to enjoy great happiness. It is not proper to go empty-handed to the door of God, your guru or a Brahmin. Therefore, on the way, Kaka bought 2 seers, that is 1 kilogram, about 1 kilogram of grapes. See, this is again a very important lesson. When you ever go to meet the Divine Master, never go into their, the place, the dwelling place with empty hands. You should always take something. Even if it means a leaf of tulsi, you need to carry it with you. You cannot say that I don't have anything. You need to go there. Such is the significance of, how you go to a temple. Like you don't go empty hand again to the temple. God, please give me something. You have to take some offering. It could be even just a small flower. It could be a fruit, whatever that you can afford. The Divine Masters don't ask for the moon, but it is a very important. It signifies a huge spiritual significance. And it has a very profound meaning. When you meet the God, you have to offer whatever that you can with love and devotion. They will graciously accept it and they will grant you that benediction and blessing. So please understand how you enter a divine being's place. There is a seedless variety of grapes, but only the grapes with seeds are available at the time. So Kaka bought the same. Talking, laughing happily on the way, the threesome reached Shirdi and all together. They went they all went to Baba in the mosque for darshan. Another devotee, Baba Sahib Tarkad, was also sitting there. Listen to what Sheth Dharamshi asked him out of curiosity. What do you feel here that makes you come over and over again? We come for darshan, replied Tarkad. So the Sheth said, but I have heard that miracles take place here. So Tarkad said, this is not my feeling. Whatever may be the keen desire in one's mind, that desire is fulfilled. Kaka bowed his head on Baba's feet and offered the grapes in his hands. People had already collected and Baba began distributing the grapes to the devotees. Along with others, Baba gave some to Dharamshi. But this was the variety he did not like. He liked only the seedless one. He had a distaste for these grapes. A difficulty arose right at the beginning. How to eat them was his problem, nor could he bring himself to refuse. Moreover, his doctor had forbidden him to eat grapes without first washing them, and it would not be proper to wash them oneself. Numerous doubts assailed his mind. But then, come what may, he just popped them in his mouth, carefully putting away the seeds in his pocket. He would not defile the sanctity of a sadhu's place by throwing the seeds of chewed grapes. But the Sheth said to himself, he is a sadhu, and yet how does he not know that I do not like these grapes? Why does he give them to me compulsively? Even as this thought crossed his mind, Baba gave him some more. This is so cute. This is how the great masters work. You better not mess with them. Baba gave him some more, knowing that they were with seeds. He kept them in his hand instead of putting them in his mouth. True, he did not like the grapes with seeds, but they were given in his hand by Baba. Dharamsi's Sheth felt most embarrassed and did not know what to do. He did not feel like putting them in the mouth. So he quietly preserved them in his fist. But suddenly Baba said, oh, do eat them up, Shethji. Shethji promptly obeyed. Even as Baba said, eat them up, and Dharamshi put them in the mouth, they turned out to be all seedless. He was greatly astonished. When he found the grapes to be seedless, Dharamshi was simply amazed and said to himself, truly marvelous is his power. What is impossible for these saints? You need to understand something very important here. Baba doesn't have to do these petty miracles. It is not about these miracles for these petty human beings. But it is to remove the doubts and put them on the path of righteousness and to give them that spiritual wheel is why these great saints would do this kind of miracle. They don't have to prove anything to anybody. They're all knowing. You think a petty desire like this he will not eat grapes with seeds? How stupid is that? And you think Baba has to prove him by giving him seedless grapes? You just imagine, he's a great Lord Almighty. Why should he, even matter to this petty human being like this Dharamsi said? There are a lot of n number of people on this planet Earth. But what does Baba say? I give them that faith or fulfill that desire or make that miracles happen so that their faith can be conferred in the divine. That is the only reason. And they can be put on the path of spirituality. They can be put on the path of righteousness. That is dharma. That is the only reason. There is no other reason for them to, perform any miracles. My Krishna Guruji will say simply this, I don't perform any miracles. Don't come with me, oh, I'm going to get woody from my hand, or I'm going to make some magic, I'm going to make somebody, I'm going to wake up someone from the dead. Actually, he can all that. He has the power, but he will never do any of such things. And he has to. He has done to. So he has the power to give anything in this universe. Know that he's the God Almighty. Yet my Guruji will never perform any such miracles. But miracles do happen around him. N number of miracles do happen. And we will listen to it as we journey along. And definitely you will also read in the stories that I write about the journey of my master. my life stories as a journey with my master. You will read in that and in his autobiography about the greatness of my Guruji. So it is extremely important that you understand how these great beings work. You know, they're not sitting here jobless. Sometimes I feel very sad. How petty can we human beings become? It's very sad that the Divine Master has to make some magic so that we believe in them. What kind of a stupidity is that? Imagine he doesn't like to eat grapes with seeds. So Baba has to make a miracle that he has to then eat the grape. The grapes have to turn out to be seedless. Isn't that a stupid desire? You know, my Guruji, this is a very interesting story. Nothing great, but this is about my own life, my journey with my master. I would be such a finicky person. I wouldn't eat, I'll take 1 hour to eat 2 chapatis. And my mom have to ask every single day, what do you want to eat? Pandering to me. She was a great mother who will pander to me, who will say, okay, what do you want to eat? And literally pamper, exactly making what I want to eat. And when I met my Guruji, he realized I had too many, he called it chochles. Chochle means too many this weird habits. I exactly don't know what's the English word. I can't find the word, but I will let you know. It's about your idiosyncrasies, something like that. Okay. So my Guruji will say, what is this? I don't eat this. I will eat this. I will eat only like this. So it has taken him many years to bend me, and to make me eat a proper meal. And today I can finish my food in 15 minutes or max even 10 minutes. And that to eating a holistic meal and not complaining. Yeah, I still have little bit. They say even for the lizard, the whole ego is gone, but the tail is still wagging. There's a little bit of that ego left. So he will remove all of that. Slowly, my Guruji says it'll all go away as you evolve. The word is as you evolve. So from 1 hour for eating just 2 chapatis, my Guruji has today helped me in, made me to eat everything. A Sattvic meal, which is healthy, and, by eating a good quantity as well. I used to be skin and bones, by the way. And today I can eat a substantial amount that is required for me to be healthy and hale and hearty. So that is how my Guruji has made me into. And eat everything, all kinds of food. Earlier I wouldn't even eat spicy food. Anything my mom cooks, I'll say it's too spicy. And after coming to my Guruji, I started drinking coffee. I would never drink coffee. Everything was just milk. Even if when I was very sick and all that, my grandmother would give like 3/4 of the milk and put two drops of coffee decoction in that and give it to me, just saying that no, you can't have only milk because you'll throw up. So all that is gone today. Today I have my beverage, I eat a healthy meal and follow everything the way Lord Shri Krishna has said, that you have to live and do everything in moderation. There's no excess. And earlier I would not eat this, I would not eat sweets, I would not drink, and the most funny thing is I would never drink Coke, Pepsi, nothing. And today with my Guruji, I would never even eat pizza. I wouldn't even like. I don't like this, I don't like that. Such a finicky person. But today I eat everything. And I'm the first person to tell him I want masala Pepsi, whatever that is. And I'm shocked. Sometimes I wonder, is this me really? And there used to be things I would like. Today I'll tell him I don't like to eat this anymore. I just want how you make it. So it's completely transformation, and the transformation happens so beautifully. You don't even understand how the DNA and the divinity penetrates inside of you so beautifully, and you transform. And that comes over a period of time, and you have to practice. And that is why spirituality is all about sadhana. It's all about evolving from where you are to where I am today to where I have to reach. So it's an evolution, and that's a beautiful journey. And the process, it's not easy, it's quite arduous. So let's come back. Knowing the wish in my heart, though the grapes were with seeds and unwashed, those that Sai gave me were seedless and beneficial. He was wonder-struck, quite oblivious of his earlier curiosity and inquisitiveness. His ego was overcome, and there arose great love for the saint in his heart. The initial resolve vanished and love for Sai overpoured in his heart, justifying all his eagerness and firm resolution to visit Shirdi. Baba Tarkad was there too, sitting with Sai Baba, and had also been given some of the grapes. So Dharamsi asked him, "How were your grapes?" When Tarkad replied, "With seeds." He was quite astonished, but it confirmed his belief that Baba was a sadhu. An idea struck his mind to get a further confirmation. See, this is how the idiots are in this world. Sorry for me calling idiots. But you're not, even with one experience, he's still not convinced. His mind is throwing more doubts. Now see what he's going to do. If you are a real sadhu, he said to himself, then it will be Kaka's turn next to receive the grapes. What a stupidity. Baba was distributing the grapes to many. But no sooner had this thought come into Shet's mind than Baba began his next round with Kaka himself. Shetty's wonder grew. The signs of his being a sadhu, this power to read another's thoughts, was enough for Dharamsi's mind to regard Baba as a sadhu. Madhavrao was also present there. As if to explain, he then said to Baba, "That Shet of Kaka's, you know, this is he, who this, oh, how can he be Kaka's master? His master is another." Baba replied at once. Kaka's heart was filled with joy on hearing these words. But the marvel of it all was that Baba put it on a cook called Appa, who stood just there near the dhuni. He said, "This Shet has come all the way, but he has not taken this trouble for me. He came to Shirdi because he felt a great love for Appa." Such was the dialogue. Forgetting all about his resolve, Dharamshi of his own will prostrated at Baba's feet. Afterwards, they both returned to the Vada. Aarti took place at noon and they began preparing for the journey home. Time came for obtaining Baba's permission, so they proceeded to the mosque. Dharamsi then said to Kaka, "I am not going to ask for permission. It is you who need it, so you only should ask for it." So Madhavrao said, "There is no saying about Kaka's return unless a full week passes by. He may not be permitted to go. It is better that you ask yourself for it." So when the three of them went to the mosque and sat down, on their behalf Madhavrao asked for permission. But Baba began to tell a story. Listen to it attentively. There was once a fickle-minded man whose house was full of wealth, food grains, etc. Physically, mentally, he had no illness, no afflictions, but he liked to court trouble. Needlessly, he wandered about, carrying a heavy burden on his head. His mind knew no peace. One moment he would put down the load, only to pick it up the next moment. He could not steady his mind. Baba is just exactly repeating what Shetji's behavior was. One moment he got this confirmation, the next moment again there's another doubt. He said, "I want a reconfirmation." That is how the mind works. Seeing his plight, my heart was moved by compassion, and I said to him, "Steady your mind and fix it on one thing, whatever that may be. You wander needlessly. Steadily fix your mind in one place." The words stung Dharamshi to the quick. He thought that it was a warning to himself. This is amazing, this is exactly how my Krishna Guruji teaches. When my Krishna Guruji gives satsang, each one will feel, "Oh God, I am being slapped." That's the first thing I will say. I'll come and tell him, "Aaj to mera dhulai ho gaya." In Hindi we'll talk. Means today I had a bashing session from you. God, everything was taught about you. Are only telling me. It is everybody feels the same way. You know why? Because everybody is in the same state. We all, that lesson, whatever my Krishna Guruji is giving, it feels it's directly pointing to you. But it's not just you. Each one will feel in that same capacity. Oh, it is pointing towards me. He's saying it about me. I'll tell my Krishna Guruji, 12 years, I'm the only person you keep talking about. Anything that is bad about me, you give only my example if it has to be anything, bad. He says, "No, it's not just you. Yeah, he'll crack jokingly say, "Yeah, you're an inspiration for me. So I'm able to give lot more. I'm able to come up with lot more updates." So cute. And then he'll say, it's not just you. And then he'll ask me after finishing the satsang when I come down, "Aaj kaisa tha?" In a very funny manner, just to hear. Yeah, dhulai kar diya aapne hamara. I'll just say that, okay? So cute. And then another student of his, he'll also say, no, he did it for me, mera bhi aaj dhulai hua. It's like everybody feels that bashing was for them. It's not about bashing, it's about teaching. The Guruji is imparting that knowledge so that your stupid mind needs to understand. It is not you, it is about your mind. So what you need to overcome is your mind. Until your mind is not convinced, then it is always going to keep throwing the doubts again and again and again. So it has to be a two tight slaps so that it stops it right there. So let's see what happens to Dharamsi now. With all the prosperity and abundance of wealth, Dharamsi was forever worried without the slightest reason, causing unnecessary trouble to his own self. Wealth, honor, he enjoyed aplenty, but there was no contentment in his mind. He was always engrossed in imagined sorrows and sufferings. When he heard the story coming from Sai's mouth, his surprise was great. This is just the condition of my mind, he thought, and with great respect he listened to it. That Kaka should get permission so quickly was an impossible thing. But when even that was obtained so effortlessly, Dharamsi was naturally most pleased. He had wished very much that Kaka should return with him, and Baba granted even that wish by giving them consent to go. This was also Shedji's wager. But how did Baba know the mark? This was a most remarkable indication of his being a sadhu, which Dharamsi now accepted wholeheartedly. All doubts were resolved. It was clear that Sai was a sadhu, as was the feeling in his heart. So was the experience that Baba had given him. Whichever path one wants to follow, he will guide him along the same path. Sai knows the capacity of each, and accordingly, they are given spiritual guidance by him. This is very important lesson. Whichever path one wants to follow, he will guide him along that same path. Sai knows the capacity of each, and accordingly they are given spiritual guidance by him. Very simply put, the mother knows what food is good for her children. So to one, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji says in his Gospel of Ramakrishna the Gospel of Ramakrishna, in that he says, right, the mother makes fish, the dishes, but for one child she feeds him fish pulao, to another she makes fish curry, to another steamed fish. So to each child she gives what that is palatable to them. Likewise, the spiritual mother, the Guru Ma, the Krishna Ma, gives that knowledge which is all suitable for you alone. He is not going to give that which you cannot eat. He will only give you that as much you can digest. So that is who the Guru is. So his spiritual guidance to you will be exactly to what you will be comfortable with. So to each his own, and the master alone knows what is right for you. So don't even go and ask him, I want to do this text, I want to learn this. Don't even, just Krishna Arpanam. That which he has to give you anyways will come to you. I think with this particular story, I have narrated enough about my own self. How I have asked for knowledge. I said, I want a fast track. Oh my God, that was the most funniest one. When I didn't even know, I would tell my Guruji, I want to be the highest, disciple of yours. I want to be the highest devotee. I want to know everything. I want to know all the text. My Guruji didn't even start teaching me until like 2014. I met him in 2009. Till then, no knowledge was open. Yeah, he'll teach, nothing will enter me. So till that ego is not destroyed, you cannot have that knowledge. The foundation has to be established on a strong base. It cannot be on a weak base, because the foundation is the one on which, a strong foundation is the one on which the temple can be built. It's not on a weak foundation, otherwise the temple will crumble and fall. So this is what my Guruji's explanation was. But then when that day when he revealed, I have not even began your journey, you are not even started yet. I have not even opened that knowledge for you. I was crushed. It felt like he literally made a mincemeat of me and crumbled me under his feet. My ego came crumbling, but only tears of joy flowed from my eyes. I was shocked for a moment, but after that my heart was just open with love. With that understanding how stupid and vain was my ego. And then when he then gave me the text from the scripture from his hand and said, now we will do it. on his own, that is when the knowledge opened. And then I began on the path of my spiritual journey, not until then. And this is very beautiful. Then whatever that knowledge has to come, it's his way, his choice, how he wants to impart that. But yes, sadhana, he'll tell me to read. Yeah, I do fail many a time, but you have to get up and keep going. Someday you will have to reach there. And that is what is all about, doing a deep sadhana, putting arduous effort and going on that path. And the knowledge will open up at the right time. And once you listen to the instructions of your Guruji and follow what he's ordaining you to do, everything will work magic. And what that knowledge will reveal itself. And when the Guruji teaches, you will go deeper into it. And it's not just one time you read. You have to keep reading this. You have to, you have to do Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, contemplate, concentrate, meditate, and silence. Sit in silence and understand, figure out what is this teaching all about, what is he telling me. Until you don't do that, you can't evolve. Evolution on the path of spiritual is very, very important. So already we are at the end of the hour, so I'm not going to continue further. We will stop here and we will continue from verse 127 tomorrow evening at the same time. So thank you for joining Sai Satcharita Parayan. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson and I hope you had a wonderful day. And see you for tomorrow for Devi Mahatmyam in the morning from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunath Natha Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.